hello to one of my favorite people, Yoel, Kenan, who is, as we were saying, CEO and founder of Africori, who are a music platform distributor, who are also now branching into publishing and sync and doing an amazing job there as well. Yoel, thanks for taking the time out to speak with us today about the journey with Warner Music and the partnership that we've had going so far. So we can get started with the background, and you can give me some idea, because I've never asked you how the relationship came about, and I don't think I even know. So, how the relationship came about between Africori and Warner, how did this all start?
So first of all, I mean, we're not trying to do like a self-congratulation type of panel. I think it's kind of boring. We're trying to maybe exchange the experiences and that hopefully can benefit other people in the audience as well.
Thank you.
So the relationship with Warner, we always met. We always met at certain conferences like this one, and I've started to develop a relationship with Alfonso, who's until a few days ago, the president of emerging markets, and we kind of follow each other. I mean, they kind of follow us as well. And I think in 2018, December 2018, I contacted Warner to look for opportunities.
Yeah.
And that's how we started to talk. It took 1.5 years, 2 years before we completed the first deal. And that was in April 2020.
Okay. I mean, I know from my experience working within Warner, and I think you've had this experience as well, these kinds of investments are quite slow going, and there's a lot of relationship building that needs to happen beforehand. So during the period of getting to know Alfonso and the team, was there any time where you weren't entirely sure, where you were thinking, is this the right move for me?
I mean, let's be honest. I think what happened is we started Africori in 2012. Well, I started Africori in 2012. Mm-hmm. In 2018-19, I started to see quite a lot of international distribution companies coming into the continent, and I realized that I need some injection of cash to be able to compete. We didn't want to be like this company was like, oh yeah, you have the credibility, having worked across the continent for so many years, and I've done all those things, but the market itself didn't reach the level that we're expecting that we could have a very profitable business. And at the same time, you've got all those the Orchard, the Believe, the Dito, all the international one. Virgin, we talked about him yesterday. Mm. So it was a necessity. I felt that we need some injection. And funny enough, we started the conversation with Warner, but we also had a conversation. At one stage, Universal came. I spent 11 years of my life at Universal. So it was like normal that at one stage they will come, but we were so ahead with Warner. And to tell you the truth, what I liked about the deal we structured with Warner is that I wanted to be able to have enough cash to develop the business but not sell the business at that stage. Mm-hmm. Because I knew that the growth was happening in the next few years. Yeah. And I needed we need the injection. And interestingly enough, and I think that's what we're trying to do, mm-hmm. we see the labels and the partner that we work with in the same way. A lot of the time, the conversation when they talk about an advance, or we just renewed a deal with one of the most successful labels in South Africa, and the conversation is about not just the amount of advance, but how can we allow you to grow? What do you need besides the money to help you grow and grow your business? And I think that's whenever we in those conversations, I think about how I was dealing with Warner as well.
Yeah, you mentioned that beside the money, there were other things that you wanted to help your business grow. Was there something that you knew you wanted in terms of resources, human resources, tech, just anything in terms of infrastructural development that you thought you needed from Warner? And I guess, did you get it initially, and was it smooth sailing in terms of the initial transition?
The main thing at that time, and I think still today, I will say at that time 70% of our revenue were outside of Africa. Okay. So I needed a partner that I could leverage outside of Africa when we have those opportunities, because you didn't want to be in a situation, I mean, as a distributor, Tyler was signed with us at the beginning, Nassisi was signed at the beginning, Sauti Soul, we had them at the beginning. We had a number of artists. My team was very good at identifying great talent, but we felt sometimes that we couldn't take the whole way. When we need to, I'm a big believer that when your song is hot, don't wait for the next cycle. You need to switch straight away. You can't. And what happened? We signed in, I said April 1st, 2020. In July 7th, we licensed Jerusalem to Warner outside of Africa, and it became the biggest South African song ever. So that, what we were preaching, what we're trying to do, we got very lucky as well, happened 4 months later. And now I could get the whole support of the Warner world internationally. And I used to work in corporate, in marketing at Universal, so I could see when you reach a certain level, that's where they can put the machine. Since then, we've done Chwalabam last year, where you guys, because you work at Warner, where you guys were helping us as well. We had the Burna Boy remix we did together. Atlantic in the US pushed it. We had ADA in some markets also pushed it, which is the distro of Warner. And I think that's what we're looking for. The main thing is how do we add services to our client? Sorry. That's the main thing. It's always about what do we need. We don't necessarily think a license is the best way. It's for the client to choose. Sometimes we think, especially if it's a dance track, we think that a distro can work. And we support it with local marketing.
Okay. And do you feel that the relationship has grown in terms of the integration? Because as you mentioned, there was Jerusalem as a project that you guys worked on as a license initially. And then with Chwalabam, I guess me being somewhat involved in that, I can see that there's much more integration. How do you feel that process has, come about? Do you think it's been advantageous for Africori, or has it been more advantageous for Warner? Just being completely frank.
It's been, no, of course I'll be frank. It's been hard. Integrations are hard, especially when you're an independent. And I forgot the habits that we have. So we used to go directly to most of the stores. We had a deal with Merlin as well. There were good things, the things that still annoys us today. But I have to say, look, first of all, I found the people very nice. It was not as political as I thought.
We try.
No, but I've been in places where it was very political. The second thing is, I don't give a shit about, no, but you know that. I don't give a shit about what the corporate will tell me. Yeah. I mean, we're here to fight for artists. So if we have to do something, I say, oh, sorry, I didn't know. So we'll do it. But it's also been very supportive. I mean, the TikTok deal that Warner did helped us considerably.
Okay.
In an incredible way. And that helped us, to generate more promotions and more revenue to our clients. And that's
you talked about some teething problems. I mean, we don't need to go into extreme detail because we don't want to, show everybody our, dirty linen. But just for people that are thinking about doing this kind of deal, if there are any hurdles that they might need to navigate, what do you think those might be?
I think it's try to... The one thing that I hate that I hate the most is like people come to you and say, we're going to be able to do all of this. And they paint you the whole great things, and we got all the suite of services, and we have record labels in all the countries, and you're only going to be able to work when you've got a song that is of interest to those labels. Yeah. Besides that, you're going to be doing the job. So we knew entering into the deal that even though they told us we're going to have all those great bells and whistles, we knew where to focus on. So at least I have that history before to be able to. Also, ideally, if you can fund your business yourself, it's even better.
Yeah.
I listened to the podcast from the 1RPM founder, and 1RPM, I think, is self-funded from the beginning, and that's an amazing position to be. It's trying to understand if really we're going to be able to support, or if they're really going to be the support to get to the next level, and if there's another alternative as well. And I think I'm very happy with the deal that we've made. Yeah. To talk very candidly, I think the turnover went. We multiplied by 5 or 6 times since we started the deal. So in 4.5 years, the turnover went 6 times up. So clearly it's a combination of the injection of cash, it's a combination of accessing some of the services of Warner, and also Warner left us alone, and you know that.
Yeah.
We left over there, we're doing our own things, and we tried to but I was just thinking before going on, we had a ADE, Amsterdam Dance event. A year ago, we worked with Warner. We did an event over there. We promoted. We did a writing session in Miami between amazing US producers and Focalistic. Momo was there. Pabbie Cooper was there. Around Afro Nation. That was also with Warner and Warner Publishing. We had the Ibiza project that we just released 2 months
Piano
ago.
to Ibiza.
That was through the Warner deal. So we were remixing piano remixes of Armada label, So we're accessing opportunity that we didn't have the time nor the contact to access in the past. And the thing is, success brings success. So the more you're doing those type of events, the more people come to you.
Yeah.
Now, our biggest problem at the moment is just to be able to staff up and to be able to grow quickly. And I think those are some of the frustrations of big company because they're very focused on how many people you can have or not.
One thing I will say, just because of my own personal experience, I can see that Africori has a really distinct culture in terms of the workplace, and it's an enabling culture where a lot of the staff they feel empowered to do what they need to do, which is quite different from the Warner system because there's a little bit more rigidity. How have you maintained the culture within Africori despite this integration?
I mean, first of all, you've allowed us to maintain it.
Yeah.
That's the first thing. And the second thing, as I said, I'm too old to give to care about it. And we also knew that we're doing the right thing. I mean, I've got an amazing team of colleagues who are working super hard, who have this. They really care. I mean, that's what we're trying to. We really care. And I don't want to. Again, I didn't want to. It's not about selling Africori today. What we're trying to say. Sorry, I'm going back.
No, it was okay.
Is we're more interested today to find the other Africori, the other labels that are developed in the continent, and how we can help them via Warner directly, via Warner through Africori. That's for me more exciting. It's more exciting because I was in that situation. There are many people in different situations, and I think what we need to do and what Major's obligation to do is how do we support it? Yeah. Not just acquire. Acquire is easy. How do you support and how do you develop and try to say, okay, does it work or not work? I mean, there were other acquisitions happening in the continent. Well, not all of them are working.
Yeah.
So it's two ways, but I think it's important to. I think that's really the message. Yeah. Sorry, I didn't answer your question.
I think you did. But outside of the workplace culture, I think there is something to be said for like the actual culture within a country or within an organization. So there's a lot that's happening regionally, as you said, with other Africoris that are popping up. There are other distros and other companies that Warner is keen to support, and Africori is also keen to support, rather than just saying, look, it's a straight acquisition. We're looking at how we can actually build relationships, help with the infrastructural side of things. Do you think that we're taking the right approach with wanting to with the way that we're partnering? Is there more that we could do as, like basically brothers in arms? Is there more that we could do to connect with these organizations and then support them?
I think my idea at one stage was like, all those majors are reporting to New York, Amsterdam, I guess, with Universal, and Tokyo with Sony.
Yeah.
The problem of all of those companies being listed is that they have to report every month, every 3 months.
Yes, yeah.
That is not the cycle that I'm not going to work with an artist and say, you need to deliver this album now because I've got my turnover to do. I thought about, why don't we remove Africa from the majors, the business of Africa from the majors. They put some investment to allow us to develop the way we think it should be developed, not the way New York or Paris or Tokyo looks at how the way we develop it. By doing deals with other companies, but not only doing the deals, but creating an environment which is not dictated by those head office, not because they're bad, it's because our turnover is so small compared to the world, and we still have the same contingency or the same, we have to apply or to comply to certain rules that are forced by the stock market.
Yeah.
And I think let us grow. Give us the time to grow. And when we at a certain level, then if you want to, rework or integrate it, you can. And I think that would be amazing. So, yeah.
I think that one of the things that I'm quite cognizant of when we're working with local companies, and one thing that I'm aware of with Africori, and as you said, we've given you guys the space, is that in a corporate structure where we're reporting on a regular basis, on a monthly basis, and we also have to, work at the, within, how do I put it, the best way of doing things. I'm trying to be very, PC here. Yeah. But essentially within a corporate organization, there's a lot that you have to do in terms of compliance. There are systems and processes that are quite slow. Sometimes they can feel quite labored. And us working with, outfits that are independent allows us to move a little bit faster. So we can still adhere to those systems, but at the same time, we can move at the pace of culture. I think there's some more that we could do to try and speed things up, definitely. But I think the way that we're approaching it right now it gives me hope, because it means that we're not stuck, doing things through, the corporate system, and it's quite slow, and where everybody's moving quite quickly. Because as we've seen right now, there's a lot of virality in music. There are a lot of artists that are, they're just putting out music on TikTok, and it's going. And rather than thinking about, okay, we need to, sign this artist or sign this song, we can actually support the labels that they're working with, which I think is a better approach for us anyway. But I think it also helps us to really empower those companies, rather than just coming in and saying we're going to control everything, because it's nice to have an amazing market share, but we can do it in a different way. Is there something that you would like us to, approach, a way that you would like us to approach things in the future? Because I really want us to think about how we can grow and develop, but is there something that you specifically want us to focus on?
I mean, there's a lot of things. I think we're like the guinea pigs, and we're trying to change even the way the finance team now works. I mean, we push them so much. I mean, we missed a big track 10 days ago, a Maskandi track, so traditional music from South Africa. And we were annoyed because we were talking to them about the label. So the label hopefully is going to work with us. But that track was the first biggest song, debut song in South Africa ever. And we knew it. But before, I'll be able to sign a contract, open my computer, transfer the advances straight away in front at the same time. We were moving very, very fast. Yeah. Now it takes us a few more days, which is okay. I mean, at the beginning, it was going to take us 3 or 4 weeks. We've shortened it. Yeah. No, I think the thing that I would have done, I would have loved to do, and if I was still independent, I would have done straight away. I would have opened an office in New York or in the US and an office in Europe.
And why is that? Go ahead.
Because there's more and more African music developing outside. If you look at the Nigerian market, because of the problem that Apple had and the Naira devaluating from $1 to 400 to $1 to 1,600, the revenue in Nigeria now is getting smaller and smaller. So you're investing a lot, hoping that you're going to generate revenue outside of Africa, UK, US mostly. And so the idea now is that because so much of the revenue, so much of the work, and so many opportunities happen outside, I would love to have our own team pushing African music. Like at the beginning, where you had hip-hop music in the early 90s, where in Europe not many people were caring about. And you had to have some people that the US company paid to push it. Yeah. Ambassadors to push on the ground. So we're using consultants, but it would be great to have our own infrastructure over there. Yeah. That is one thing that...
These are important trade routes, so we should do what we can to invest in those spaces. So, I mean, it's something we could talk about, definitely.
We're trying to find a way, I mean, to, around to bend the rules and try to do it. It's... But yeah, I think the idea is always to look at what can you do to support our clients, meaning artists or producers or labels, and what are we not doing right? And we're talking about it all the time with the team. I think like we're sometimes reaching a limitation. Sometimes we don't feel the artist, or we're not implementing the plan the way we would like to be. Yeah. So we're always looking, what can we do better? Yeah.
What are you most excited about in terms of what we've got coming up for the future of the partnership?
I'm excited about. I'm gonna fall. I'm excited about the fact that in the last 4 years, wherever we go, we had a call with the Korean office. We wanted to do a collabo because everybody does collaboration with the US artist. We wanted to do an Amapiano collaboration with some K-pop artist. And it's amazing to be able to send an email, get the head of the Warner Korean office, sit down with the A&R, and looking at it, I think the idea is to find more time, just have more time to do things. I'm excited about the potential. I think it's a combination of finding the right partners, of course, the right artists, and just going for it. I mean, that's the only limitation is ourselves.
100%.
That's all. I mean, yes, of course, sorry, it depends for who it is, but we can find some of the cash. If you create enough of a buzz at the beginning, more people will come and invest into the project. So we've had some success. We're very excited about Afro House. I think Heavy K was talking about it yesterday. There's a lot of things happening, and also the fact that you can now have a conversation with anybody really interested about what's coming from the continent.
Yep.
Where 4 years ago it was like, okay, I have to see him.
Yeah.
And they will like give you lip service. Now, not everybody, but now you've got they're really interested.
And we've also had some joint projects and recent joint signings as well, which I think for me, as like being part of those projects, it's been quite interesting to see this fusion of cultures, like workplace culture, and how we've been able to like basically leverage on each other's experience, because distro had no knowledge of distro really, other than just the basics and the rudimentary parts of it. But it's been a good opportunity for us to exchange knowledge. For me, I've learned a lot. I've learned a lot from you. I've learned a lot from the team. It's been a real blessing because, getting thrown into the fire sometimes on a project that I knew nothing about, but everybody that I've worked with has been really accommodating and understanding that we're not coming in as the big bad Warner. There's been a lot of appreciation for the fact that we're trying to collaborate. So it's been great.
No, that's the thing. There's a great environment. And the one thing I forgot to say it, and now this is a credit for you as well, and to Warner, is that I think we're the only major that all Africa is done together.
Yeah.
It's not like you've got West Africa reporting to the UK and East Africa reporting to Germany or whatever it is. We have a Pan-African objective. Like now we just launched the Francophone JV with the French company. And I've been actually quite harsh with the French, about it, and that. But it's because they didn't feel that they could come and just do whatever they needed to do. And I think it's working very well. We've got a few beautiful projects that we've signed the last 3 or 4 weeks.
Yep.
And also we're trying to take one step. And what we're trying also to do with the Francophone is to make sure we connect Ivorian or Cameroonian artists with the Nigerians, with the South African, and not necessarily just bring them to Paris and try to change the sound to reach the French market. I think the idea is to, as much as possible, is to try to build, and we're not the only one, we're all working here at trying to build an African music business. And we've been doing it for years. And I think we're not even at the beginning of it.
I think it builds that interdependence with different African countries, rather than everybody looking to, as you said, France, the UK, New York. It's a way of empowering us all together. So, we can do a hell of a lot more than that. We can stand to do more, to be honest. But I think that the Francophone project it's just in its infancy, but it started off really well. So it's something that I'm quite proud of.
And we're not working in silos. So when you look at what Afro Nation is doing in the US or in Europe, what the other labels, other distributors over here are doing as well, it's great. Every win is a win for all of us.
Yes, 100%.
We don't see it differently than that. And I think everybody's trying to push. And one of the things with Africori, because I can see Adam is here as well, it's the fact that the longevity of the team. And I think for me it's very important in a way that we very much appreciate and work hard to get as much as possible long-term relationship with our artists or labels. It's so important to us.
Yeah.
It takes so long to build a relationship. So when the time goes, because when the things go bad, you want to be there to support, not just when things go well.
Yeah.
Because an artist or a creative person goes through a cycle. If you had all those hits before and you're going through a difficult time, it's going to come back. And we're not here to say, okay, we move to the next one. You need to get the support as much as we can. We're far from perfect, but we're trying.
Speaking of the artists, sorry to cut you, when they heard about the deal and they know that you're part of the Warner system, was there any issues with them, to put it bluntly?
They want more money. No, I'm kidding.
But that's reasonable. I can imagine they would ask.
No, the money is an element of the market, and we actually just completed 2 deals where the competition offered much more, according to the lawyers, and the client came to us because they had a relationship with us and they felt it was more important. We always said we only want to work with people who want to work with us.
Yeah.
And that's the reality. So maybe a question or two from the floor?
Yes, I mean, we're close to time. So does anybody have any questions that they want to put to Yoel specifically?
Or to Laverne? She's quite...
Not for me.
Okay. I knew we were quite boring, but thank you very much.
But no, thank you.
There's a great event downstairs around the collecting societies in Africa.
Yeah, we'll be heading there.
If you want to join.
Cool.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, a round of applause for Laverne Thomas.